Hello all, welcome to my classes of forensic science. And let me introduce myself that I am a assistant professor in forensic science for last 13 years at Amity University, Dubai. Now, Amity University is one of the best university offering various courses, the programs in forensic science, bachelor's of forensic science, master's of forensic science, as well as PhD in many of its branches. So what we are going to discuss today is the introduction of forensic science. So let us move with that. What do we understand by forensic science and what will be the learning outcomes from this presentation? So we'll be going to learn definition of forensic science. We'll be going to learn function of forensic science, branches of forensic science means the various branches of forensic science, and the services provided by the crime lab and divisions, and then slight history of forensic science. We'll not go in detail, but this will be a slight history which we are going to understand from this. So forensic science is also known as criminalistics, or you can say it is the application of various scientific principles in terms of law for the purpose of justice. For example, you need to apply certain principles of physics, certain principles of biology, certain principles of chemistry to solve a legal issue. For example, if there is a blood stain encountered on a crime scene, so firstly we need to know whether it is blood or not. So we need to apply certain chemicals to say whether it is blood or not, and then we have to say whether it is human blood or animal blood. So we have to apply certain biological principles or species origin test to confirm, means antigen antibody reactions to confirm whether it is human blood or animal blood. If it is human blood, then we have to identify the blood grouping. Again, a biological biology has to be applied. Now, what is the impact of that blood, the impact force, the velocity by which the blood drop has been dropped out from the victim or from the weapon through the weapon. So then you have to apply little bit physics as well. So we can say that forensic science in itself is the application of various scientific principles in terms of law for the purpose of justice. Next is there are various branches of forensic science as we can go. First is the anatomy, in which we have to study the anatomy of the human being, the anatomy of certain insects, certain maggots, all these things. Then we have to apply mathematics as well to take some measurement, to take some ratios, to design all these things. Then we'll be having biology, for example DNA, genetics, and biological examination of the blood stains and other stains. Then physics, like blood spatter analysis. I told you that we have to find out the angle of force, the angle of impact, and in ballistics also the motion of projectile and various equations related to the motion of projectile we have to determine in the area of physics. Then we have the use of technology in forensic science, like computers, chromatography. There are various chromatographic techniques like gas chromatography, thin layer chromatography, and spectrophotometry is there. Various types of microscopes are there which are needed. And then also you can say then we have the earth science, chemistry, and many other things. So what are the function of forensic science? Let us try to get this, understand this. What are the function of the forensic science? So has a crime been committed means the investigator has to tell whether or not a crime has been committed. It also means that whether the alleged crime is actually is a genuine crime scene or a fake crime scene. So this has to be established by the forensic expert, or it can be an staged crime scene, or in other words, it is known as the corpus delicti. Corpus delicti, which is also known as the body of crime. So has the crime been committed? This has to be answered by the forensic expert. Then, how and when was the crime committed? Once it is established that the crime has been committed, then how? What was the modus operandi? What was the mode of operation? It has to be established by looking at the evidences, by looking at the sequence of events and other analytical reports from the evidences, how and when the crime was committed. And thirdly, who committed the crime? So the identification of the perpetrator, identification of the culprit. So based on the evidences are then linked to the particular perpetrator, particular individual, and then we identify who have committed